The Queen's Talk, where we honor and celebrate women on their self-love journey, where we share our stories about how we overcame past trauma and where we are now. Welcome to the Queen's Talk, Queens. Hello, everybody. I am Leslie from Brown Girls Embrace, and welcome back to the Queen's Talk. The Queen's Talk is a safe space for women and entrepreneurs to express themselves and express past trauma and to express where we came from and where we are now and how we like to support and help other women. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me at Brown Girls Embrace _LLC on Instagram. And if you have any comments tonight, please comment in the chat. And let's bring up our guest tonight. Hello.
Hello, Miss Leslie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Amazing. I'm excited for this talk.
Yes. So go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us your name and where you're from.
I am Dr. Simone Alicia, the self-esteem doctor. Originally born in Jamaica, grew up in Miami, Florida, and I'm currently still in Florida today.
Okay, you're in what part of Florida?
I'm in Parkland. It's not that familiar. It's like, think of Fort Lauderdale, middle
Oh, okay.
Palm Beach.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's mixed. Yes.
So, with it being Mental Health Awareness Month and you being the self-esteem doctor, tell us how you entered the world into being the self-esteem doctor. Take us back to where it all began.
Let me take you back. Okay, so I had an interesting journey to get here because it was the blending of two very strange worlds that just became a whole new world. So I was teaching elementary school on one side, I was modeling on the other side. And when you put those two worlds together, what I ended up finding was that there was self-esteem issues in both worlds, which shocked me. Little 8-year-olds are like, am I fat? And they're not confident with their grades. They're not confident with this. The parents aren't confident with their grades. And then I got the modeling side concerned about their body image and if they're looking good. And I'm just like, okay, somebody needs to handle this self-esteem thing because it's all over the place.
Right.
And it turned out it was going to be me. So here I am. So yeah, I saw the need and I filled it.
Okay, yeah. When you and I were talking yesterday, I noticed that we had different perspectives growing up of how we viewed problems. I kind of like, whoa, it's me. What are gonna do? Life is over. You're kind of like, let's just solve the problem. So tell us
Yeah.
about how things were as a child when you were just like a problem solver. Like because dealing with mental health and anxiety and depression and being a warrior, coming from a family who are just natural warriors, I
Mm,
inherit that. So how was growing up in
gotcha.
your household like with, dealing with issues?
That's a good question. I think, it might be partially cultural with, I guess, the island thing, the Jamaican thing. I recently actually looked into it and saw what tribe we think many Jamaicans came from Africa, and we were like, they dropped off the bad behaving people in Jamaica, so we were like real rebellious. Apparently, they were like, we can't handle these people. Get them in Jamaica. So now, I mean, I learned that more recently, so I'm like, maybe that's what's in my bloodstream. I don't know, but growing up in my household, it was very like, okay, let's kind of like handle it. Let's kind of solve it. And I don't even have like a clear picture of how to trace it back to like this is what made me like that. I think what I think happened is I just did not like the feeling of like being stuck. So when something went wrong or something wasn't making sense to me or something didn't fit what I needed, I was like, ooh, I don't like the feeling of being stuck. So let's be unstuck. So how do I not feel this way? And that I think is what inadvertently threw me into a solution mindset. And that's how I was like, let's solve it. I don't like this. Let's solve it. So,
So that's where I differ. I felt like I was stuck and I couldn't get out. I don't know, something in my mind said like I couldn't move. And it wasn't until later in life where I realized that I can move. Like if you don't
yeah.
like it, don't move. Like keep pushing. Like if it makes you uncomfortable, then don't be around it.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of what we were saying yesterday when we talked is that we are so different. And, people, like not just you and I mean, people, there's so many variations of how we handle things, how we see things, what we've been taught, what we've seen, what the history, like so much. And I think some of the pressure is like, we got to handle it the way this person handled it. And I just don't think that's the case. Ultimately, yes, is there some kind of a freedom we should be looking for and some kind, that mental wellness? Yeah. And then we can talk about that more today. But when we go through those initial struggles, there's no right or wrong way to struggle. You're still trying to figure it out. So I think that we still have to respect everybody's journey, and realize that it's just what it is. And hopefully it'll get us to the right place that we need to be at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's kind of what the platform is about embracing ourselves for who we were and how we were brought up and what it is, and embracing others for who they are, because everybody's household was different. Like I was saying
Yeah.
yesterday, my household was raised a certain way and yours was raised a certain way. That doesn't make one right or wrong. It's just that we all come from different walks of life, but it's how we're dealing with life and when we're dealing with each other. Like, are we saying, oh, well, that's weird, that's strange, or just like, oh, well, that's how she moves, because what's normal?
That oh, you gave me the chills, like man, you gave me the chills because I am not a fan of the way that we try to use the word normal. Like I obviously respect that the word normal is a real word and I don't really subscribe to the idea that there's this way, it's the way, it's what is the normal, and everyone has to do it. I just think that that is a big reason why so much of the mental health and mental wellness arena has become such a stigma because everyone's trying to judge who's doing their mental rightness the right way and the wrong way. And it's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? We all have a destination we're trying to reach, a certain level of happiness, a certain level of fulfillment in our lives. And it doesn't matter, like they say, where you started, it's where you're headed. So I think the best thing we can do for each other is to support each other on the journey to get where we want to go and not be trying to judge where you came from and how you started. Like it's irrelevant. And to a certain point, it's irrelevant.
And I think that comes with dealing with relationships too. Even when you come into a marriage, you might have one person who leaves the ketchup out and one person puts the ketchup in the refrigerator. It doesn't matter what the ketchup is put in. Like, but how she was raised, but they like, she's weird. She put ketchup in the refrigerator. But
So quick. We are so quick. But you know what? That's because I think our whole lives, everybody has put things into boxes. Everybody's put things in a pretty little
yes,
box and like this is how it's supposed to go. This is how it's supposed to go. And like, so part of what I studied is called neuro-linguistic programming. And one of those tools in neuro-linguistic programming is called chunking up. When you chunk up, you get out of those silly little details. So like the ketchup's in the fridge, ketchup's in the counter. You're like, okay, so let's chunk up. We got ketchup in the house. So like, let's just go. Let's go. Let's have burgers. Like,
let's have burgers.
so
Yes.
sometimes we just get lost in those details and we keep looking for things to separate us. We keep looking for reasons that we're different. But even in humanity, if we just chunked up, we're all human beings and we're all sharing the globe. I mean, that's what it is. You know what I mean? But people don't like to go there. They want it to be more so they could fight.
It's like analyzing every little thing. And this is like, when during the pandemic, people were dying left and right, crazy left and right. We were losing family,
Man,
we were losing friends, we were losing celebrities, we were losing a lot. Our world changed. So does those little
100%.
things matter? That's why I created Brown Girls Embrace, for girls to embrace themselves and to find other people who are like me, because I grew up not really feeling like I belonged anywhere. I grew up feeling
Mm,
no, very misunderstood with my emotions and my feelings. So I created this platform because we need to learn togetherness. And I learned
yeah,
before the pandemic started that we didn't have enough of it.
got it.
So that's a little bit of the reason why I started. So why did you? What's the title of your position again?
The neuro linguistic programming, but girl, we're just gonna say NLP and keep it
Okay.
short.
Okay.
NLP, NLP.
So what is a NLP?
So NLP stands again, like I said, for neuro linguistic programming. And when you break down the words, neuro is really like the brain, the nervous system, and linguistics is the language, and then programming is, of course, like the way we're programming it in our belief systems. So when you put it together, it's how we use the language of the mind to program our behavior, to change our behavior. So when you are feeling stuck, when you're feeling like the low self-esteem, if you have anger, a lot of negative emotions, the goal is to help to reprogram the programs that you're currently running so that you can run a better program that will get you where you want to go and get you to your outcomes. So a lot of times what people don't realize is that the type of things we're watching on TV, listening to in our music, conversations we're having, the thoughts we're having, the repeated thoughts, the things that we're focused on, these things and what we surround ourselves with, these things are part of what creates a program. It's like, it's what I always see, it's what I always hear. And then it starts to become a belief. That belief is essentially the program. So when I'm running a program that says I'm not good enough, I don't belong here, something's wrong with me, whatever these things are, I don't have any confidence, nobody likes me, I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm dumb, whatever these negative emotions are, negative beliefs, they start to become deep rooted, right? Because of like the way the brain moves, they become deep rooted. And once they're rooted, you start to see the world through that lens. This is how you're perceiving, this is how you're hearing, this is what this is how life is. So you want to get to the place where you can reprogram that to switch it to what you do want. And that's what my job is. So we got real specific ways of doing that, general ways of doing that, but it's very specifically, let's get you out of that program that's not working and get you into a program that is. That's the goal.
That is so true. I always heard the saying, "You are what you eat." Yeah, and I've heard my mom used to always tell me, "You need to stop watching that toxic reality TV." It's like you acting like those people on the reality TV. And I'm like, no, I'm not. But as an adult, maybe I picked up some habits.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the thing, it's so clear, but like who is teaching us this, Leslie? And like who is saying to you when you sit down in school, who's saying, all right, listen, let's look at the program choices because it's called television programming. They did not even try to hide it.
Yeah,
It's
I've never
called
heard of that
programming.
till today. Never.
Let me tell you. I'm so see, this is why we do this. And this is why I'm so happy you started Brown Girls Embrace, because these are the conversations that we need to have within the communities so that we can just expand what our knowledge base is. So we are programmed beings. We're programmed from the minute we're little. And then they have the TV shows and they call them television programming. It's programmed. I even heard somebody once say, you ever notice how they call it vision? Like that's literally telling you the vision, like it's telling
Oh,
what I was
tell a vision. This is going to be the name of the podcast. Television.
like,
Television.
listen, you know what? I love it. I love it because we're either going to tell ourselves the vision. Oh, you're going to get me to preaching right now. Okay. You
Woo!
either going to tell yourself the vision, or you're going to let the television tell you the vision, or you're going to let the media and other platforms tell you the vision. Social media going to tell you the vision. But it's up to us to start to create what that vision is. But we have to know we can. That's the
Mm,
problem, is that we're stuck because we don't know we can. We don't know that's an option. So one of my big calls to my entire work and my platform is, let you know you have some options. You don't want to do it, no problem. You don't like the options, no problem. But we need to stop feeling like there's no option. There are so many that are not being talked about. For example, what we just uncovered right here. Feels so
yes. Well, I have never heard of. I'm still stuck on the television. I'm just still
good.
stuck.
Right?
I'm now because with YouTube, I try to watch more like during the day, especially. I try to watch more self empowerment stuff. And on regular TV, you can have that, but YouTube gives us the option to type in whatever we want. And
Yep.
when I'm motivated and I hear those motivational speeches by like Steve Harvey or Oprah or
Yes.
somebody like that, is just like, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe
Yes. Okay.
this isn't bad.
This is a whole word. It's an entire word. So imagine now that those moments, those pockets of time where you get that, you feel full, right? Imagine that, you said earlier, you are what you eat, right? Well, we are mentally and spiritually eating also. We're consuming, like our brain and mind, eyes, ears, nose, we're taking in, and to take in is to consume. So we are what we eat, but not just with our mouths, what we're looking at, what we're reading or watching. So imagine if those moments, those pockets of time where you were getting that inspiration was literally your lifestyle. Like you woke up with that inspiration, you were journaling that inspiration, you were watching the shows, you were gathered when you talk to your girlfriends and you're hanging out. That's what y'all are talking about. You're uplifting. Imagine the book you're reading is that book. Do you understand that the program that would become natural, like ingrained in you, would literally reflect that? You would literally have situations that come to your path and you would read it through the lens of, it's okay, I'm empowered, all is well. Not that you're never going to feel sad. Obviously, you're still going to be a human, but your perception would completely change because the actual connections and neurons connected in your brain would be different because of what you're exposed to.
Wow, that's deep. I love, and that's the thing. I love YouTube, and I love learning things on YouTube. And I don't really. I have a TV in my room, but I don't watch it. I watch my iPad or my phone because
Gotcha.
I love to learn stuff like, okay,
Oh,
financial freedom. I'm loving to learn about financial freedom and budgeting for a trip
yeah.
or paying off a debt or or entrepreneurship, or how to run my podcast,
Right.
or how to do this with my shea butter, or something like. I like to be fed those things, and my friends can't teach me. My family can't teach me, but here I have this tool now that can teach me, and I love it. And I guess during the pandemic, I'm ingrained. Like I can have me a glass of wine and my iPad,
Yep.
and I'm content because my body is being fed like good stuff. And I
Yeah.
feel like during the pandemic, I had more control over my life and what I wanted.
Ooh.
Before the pandemic, I felt like I was like a robot, always being told like how to move and
Ooh.
like that. But now
Yep. Yep.
I feel like okay, like I want to start a podcast. I want to find people like me because I realized there was not gonna say no, nobody in my inner circle that was like me or understood me. And now I'm on this platform. I'm meeting people like yourself, and you're teaching me so much tonight. You're just filling my cup,
You teaching me too.
like because it's just like I've never like been like kind of free a little bit. Like okay, then you get me. Like you get
Yeah.
you're excited to hear what I have to say. You understand me. You feel me. You know.
Yes. And the fact that you're bringing up the pandemic is, you know, it's really a powerful thing because it was a very hard time, which you said in the first place. You're like, listen, we're losing people left and right. This is not funny. This is not cute. This is not the deal. It's not the jam.
Yeah.
But at the same exact time, there was opportunity in that. And those of us who were blessed enough to make it through that, the fact that you could uncover that and be at a level in your life where you're wise enough to recognize, like, wait a second, there's a lot of changes, but not all of them are necessarily bad because where's all this freedom coming from right here? And yeah,
That
right?
right there is like it was not all black. Like unfortunately, I lost my grandfather during the pandemic from COVID, and I lost other people that I loved from COVID or whatever. But it was
Which
like
one
a
is
blessing in disguise. It was just like, hey, I can start my own business. Hey, I can love myself, and I can teach other women how to love themselves. Like, and I can find people like me, and I can just be me. And what else can I do on this internet? Like, that's what
I got chills. I feel like I'm looking in the mirror because I'm like, that's how I sound. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right.
Like, what can we do? I love that. I love that. And I think that that is it. Like to be able to take that mindset and plug it in across all the different areas of our lives. Like something's going down. It's clearly unpleasant. Nobody. I am the Miss Chocolatey, like the rainbow, the whole unicorn, the sprinkles, the Skittles. That's all me. But I am never going to act like there is no such thing as sadness, or there's no such thing as negative emotion, or there's no such thing as a bad time. I mean, hello, I'm still part of the planet here. So what we're trying to say is, yes, acknowledge that these things, these unpleasantries happen and they're part of life. And yeah, you can go have a good cry, handle it, do what you got to do. But there is a point where you can apply this concept throughout your life and say, you know what? Now what? Now that this has happened, now what? And start uncovering parts of you didn't even know were there, just like COVID did for so many people. Just like even back in the day, Great Depression was people were coming out millionaires in the middle of the depression. Like, how? Why? Because there was a mindset to it. And there's some people right now still not really mentally, emotionally recovering from haven't mentally, emotionally recovered from COVID because it was a lot. And we sympathize. Or we, again, as we started, there's no judgment, but there is a time that we can still come and empower these folks to say, listen, let's go forward. There was something here. There was some blessings hidden up in this mess. Let's dig through the mess and get to the blessing because I'm not about playing with this mess too long. I want to get to my blessing. I want to play with that. So let's do that. And I love that you shared that because I think that's so important for people mental health wise these days. It's a big, big topic.
Yeah. So with it being Mental Health Awareness Month, how has how has it looked for you when you're in dealing with your clients? How does your what kind of clientele do you have when it comes to dealing with mental health? And let's get into that.
So my clientele, I guess they're kind of different since I don't work as a traditional psychologist, psychiatrist, therapist. I work more in the capacity of a coach. So the people I tend to get have a little bit of the like I want to move forward. Like they have no idea what to do, and I'm not feeling too able to do it, but I know I want it. So I'm getting people who are usually very equipped with the desire. And sometimes I work alongside therapists and we kind of
Oh,
team up. Yeah. So they're like, okay, this person is dealing with this clinically, but here's what we want to work on self-esteem. That's your avenue, Simone. So I take that over. Um, and ultimately it's just, after COVID, people dealing with social anxiety, not really wanting to like go out and deal with people or talk to people, kind of feeling secure behind the camera. Some not even want to show their face behind the camera because, of course, that Zoom camera might be showing some flaws that your filter on your Instagram is not showing. So, like, you don't want to show your face from work or school. And I get a whole big range of people from 6 and 7 year olds all the way up to CEOs and executives for my clientele. So that's who I'm usually working with. And I see that bounce back from COVID is a big thing. But it's really people are like itching now. Like, I want to move forward. I want to know a little bit more about who I am. What am I really capable of? Because like I don't feel like anyone really fed me that. What are these tools I don't know about? What can my brain actually do? How fast can it do it? Let's go. And I'm like, you came to the right place. Let's go.
right. So I wanted to talk about, you said after COVID. I'm going to start live on Instagram too. Um,
Okay.
After COVID, you said that people have social anxiety. How how do they deal with it? Because like we was on lockdown for like 2 years. So how do people deal with? Because I realized I do have social anxiety. Like I don't like people. I like being like I told you, I like being by myself. On my iPad, I like small groups. I don't like big groups anymore. Like, so how do you deal?
Got
How did
it.
you have clients like that and everything like that?
Oh, that's such a good question. That's such a good question. And you know what? For anyone listening, tuned in live or following along after, I just have to tell you, like, it happens. Like, don't judge yourself and don't try to fit yourself in this box. Like, this is me now. Because I feel like I relate with you so much, Miss Leslie, because I love a crowd. I want to be on stage
What?
all day, every day teaching. What I was born to teach. I was like 5 years old with teddy bears on my bed, standing up in front of my room, like la la la, like that was that was me. So I love talking to the crowd, but don't play. When it's time to just have Simone time, I'm like, everybody get out. And everybody out. I want my wine. I'm gonna watch what Leslie's watching, and I'm out. Like leave me alone. So I get that. But when it came to my clients, what we started to exercise a lot of the tools, and what I can do is actually get into like one or two of the tools so you guys can see and really experience what it is. So one of the things that our brain is capable of doing is something called mental imagery, right? When we use, kitty words, we just call it your imagination. What happens though, in a psychological level, when you're using this mental imagery, also called mental rehearsal, you are rehearsing something in your mind, something that you want to happen, something that you plan to happen. It can be a sporting event, a social event, things like that. So I use this tool a lot when people were having social anxiety. And what you basically do is you bring up this social event in your imagination. You're just picturing it. We're not trying to do no kind of psychic tricks. We're just picturing, like, imagine if, right? So you picture it and you let all those feelings come up, that nervous feeling, like you feel like you're actually there. And then you start to work through the feelings in your imagination because technically you're safe. You can open your eyes, you're just by yourself in the room, or I'm there with you. And you start working through. Here's what happens to the mind. Once you are picturing something very clearly in your mind and you have the associated feelings, you're feeling it, and you can get that to be more on the positive side. What happens is your brain is starting to record it because your brain's like, oh, I'm thinking it and I'm feeling it. This is real. This is actually happening. That's what your brain's recording. So even though nothing's happening and you're not in a social event, your brain's like, ooh, that's a memory. And your brain records it. What happens after you do that a lot is that your brain actually creates a connection that's like, oh yeah, you've done this before. You went to that party and used that, you were fine. You did this before. You did this before. You did this before. So once you start echoing that you did this before all the time mentally and in your feelings, then the mind and body develop a memory of you doing that. So when the day comes for you to actually do it, there's a little bit more of a calm and an ease because you practiced. Your brain thinks you've done it before. So I'm just going to go back to the party like I did last time, right? So you don't feel as stressed. And it works. But most of the time, what we do, we practice being nervous. We don't practice being calm. We don't practice it being successful. We practice, oh my gosh, I'm going to walk in there and someone's going to talk to me. I'm not going to know what to say. I'm going to fall down. And you go, and so your brain is like, that happened. You fell down last time, girl. You're like, no, I didn't. It was like that wasn't real. So we got to practice in the right direction, and that's a powerful tool.
Let me tell you something. I've been to a few different events these last couple of weeks, and I just in my mind, my first trip I went to Jamaica. It was the early part of April. I went to Jamaica with my great aunt for my cousin's wedding, and I have I have type 1 diabetes, and she's older aunt or whatever. She's my great aunt, And I'm just like, oh my gosh, she's gonna fall out. She's gonna make me do this. And she didn't fall out. Nothing happened or whatever. But I know I've taken my aunt to the airport before, and she had this heavy suitcase, and she needed help taking it out or whatever. So when I actually went on a trip with her, I knew this was going to happen. I knew that I was going to have to carry her bags at the airport because in my mind, this is like, I always got to carry her stuff. Like, she's my great aunt. Why would I not carry her bags? It happened. It was just like, okay, I expect it to happen. I mean, but I thought a lot of I guess the anxiety kicks in. Like, I thought, like, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. But none of those happened.
And then that's where the self-coaching comes in too. Like, because sometimes thinking it, you can't really think it sometimes. If your brain is like all over the place, thinking it is like, forget it. I'll start with a 1 second positive thought, and then you just gone somewhere else. So that's where writing comes in. And I know sometimes that can feel like homework. So people are like, I don't want to write. I get you, I feel you. But if you want change and transformation, it's a step you might want to try out, because when you're writing, to be able to write your way through that and just to be like, okay, look, let me write out what's freaking me out, because I'm going to get that out of me. And like, okay, so I hear myself, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that, I'm worried about this, but I'm going to just put that down right there. And then you take your pen, because I actually created a journal that helps me to do this. I called it release and refill. So on one page, you just release everything. And then the next page, you just go like, all right, the things that I said over there is no guarantee it's going to happen. I'm not no psychic. So as much as that could happen, this could happen. It could be a great trip. She can carry a small bag. And if she doesn't, I can help my aunt with a bag. It's not a big deal. This and that. Like, you can be like, I've gone on nice trips before. Good things happen sometimes. And you could just start to like remind yourself that there are two ways to look at it. Because although sometimes it's impulsive, that anxiety is happening to you. There's some of the things I think we can do to try to just get a handle on it a little bit is to say, all right, look, let me face it on one hand, and then let me be honest with myself that, you know what, I'm not a psychic, so I could be as worried as I want about this, but let me be fair, because if this could happen, then this could happen. There's two sides. So let me be fair with that, those what ifs, as I say. Be fair with your what ifs.
One of my close friends said that I do vending events too. And it was going to be like a family friend vending event. I was like, I would never sell my shea butter to family or friends because they're going to judge me and talk about my stuff. And like, I ain't buying her little, like, and he said, you worried about something that hasn't even happened.
Yep.
It didn't happen.
Yep.
Are you
it didn't happen. Yep.
He always is like my calm, like, okay, did it happen? Or are you thinking it?
Yep. Yep. And when we give ourselves questions like that, that's another NLP like inspired tip too. Like, have a set of questions you ask yourself, like, okay, is this thought like a fact? No. Do you have any proof that it's going to become a fact? No. Is there another thought that you could think that might make you feel better than this thought? Yeah, they could love my shea butter. Is that a fact? No. Is it more factual than the last? No. So I can make up whatever I want. Like, if I'm going to lie to myself, then let me lie to myself and make it good, honey. Like, oh, they love my stuff. Because either way, I'm making it up. So, but we just get so fixated, and we just got to use these tools, man. This thing right here is so powerful. And imagine if the fixation we have sometimes on being anxious and having these anxious thoughts, imagine when we transmute that and we're able to be fixated on like the positive and the potential. Ooh, that's that unstoppable zone.
You know what I realized during the pandemic is that I'm an overthinker. Like, I knew I was an overthinker before, but I really knew I was an overthinker during the pandemic. And like, I've learned, like, do this business and do this process that I'm going through to just do it. Like, stop overthinking it. Just do it,
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. And when people usually tell me they're an overthinker, they're almost 100% of the time referring to negativity. And I said, well, and so what do I always say with them? I'm an overthinker. I'm like, that's great news. And they're like, this lady's crazy. I was like, no, because if you know how to overthink, if your brain is wired for overthinking, then we're just going to shift it to positive, and you are going to be a dreamer, and you are going to focus on goals and targets, and you're going to see life coming for you, what you want, and you're going to be able to overthink about every single beautiful thing happening to you. And they're like, I never thought of it that way. I'm like, well, why are you automatically overthinker negative? If you're overthinker, that's a gift, baby. Let's go use it for positive, because most of us can't focus on our goals and dreams long enough. And if you're overthinker, then you're going to have that laser focus. Let's do it. And we just try to take that energy and just shift it into a direction that was.
I just want to tell you, I love your energy. When you said, I'm overthinker, that's great. I'm like, that is? That was great. But you're like, no, let's flip it and turn around, because at least you recognize it. I'm like, okay, let's do it. Like, You
You're like,
make me want to do it. Like, yeah.
listen, I'm telling you, I think when we talked yesterday, I was just telling you how it's just like I feel like this is just my calling. Like God just put this on me since I was just like this big, and it was like I didn't know exactly what it was going to look like. I didn't know who I was going to talk, but I just knew I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher. You can call it whatever you want to call it, coach. You can call it speaker. You can call it. I, at the core of my soul, the core of my beingness, I am a teacher. So when I get ignited with this stuff, it's like a download. I'm just like feel like, all right, God told me to say this. I got to say this. Like this is so I feel that, and I'm glad that you see it and feel it too. But I'm just like, come on, man, we are worthy, man. We are so powerful. We're so beautiful and delicious and strong and deserving. And I'm just like, why? Let's all do it. Like, let's just get it and let's help each other to get it. This is an abundant place. Like, let's go. We can help each other, and I love that.
So, what do you
Love
enjoy
that.
about teaching? Like,
To me, there's just something so magical about watching someone go from not knowing something to knowing something, that elevation, that journey, because it's never unlearned. You can forget things in your life, whatever, but you don't quite unlearn. And it's unless you intentionally trying to unlearn. And I just in NLP, the thing we talked about before, there's a little journey they talk about when you don't know what you don't know, like you literally just don't even know you don't know something. They call it unconscious incompetence. You're not aware that you don't know something. And then you go to the space where you're now aware you don't know. Like I'm consciously aware that I don't know. So like when I'm a baby, I don't know that you could fix cars. I don't know what mechanics are. But then I get older and I'm like, oh, I know what mechanics is, but I don't know anything about it. So I'm conscious that I don't know anything about it. So I'm consciously incompetent. And then when you go from I know I don't know to okay, now I know about I can learn it and I'm now aware and I can start to learn, right? I know it, but I have to think about it. I know it, but I have to think about it. So now I know mechanics, but I have to really focus and think about it and practice it. I gotta like think. And then you get to this part where you are unconscious competence. That means I don't have to think about it anymore. I just know it like the back of my hand. I don't have to think. I just know it. I just know it. And I love helping to bring people to that place where they know it and they have to think about it, and also they know it and they don't have to think about it anymore. Just that mastery. I love doing my part to serve and bring people into that knowingness of themselves. And it's so powerful to me.
I
It's so
think that's
powerful to me.
beautiful.
I love
I think like I am a Christian and I believe that there is more happiness in giving than is receiving. So when you're giving to somebody, you are actually more helping than you pleasing yourself or whatever. Because you get to see it's like a joy when you see other people's mindset change. Like you said earlier, like, oh, I'm gonna change your mindset from this to this and this. And you just like you give that energy, like, let's do this. And that's like a true gift to have that not everybody wants to help somebody change and be a better person. Like they want all
that.
glory and honor for themselves and you know they don't want other people to be better, Not a lot of people that
Yeah,
say that, all people, but
for sure.
that's a beautiful quality to have because not a lot of people have that,
Thank you, my love. I appreciate that. I think to some degree, I mean, if I'm out myself, I feel like sometimes it is selfish because I'm like, I love this feeling. I want this feeling. I'm like, I want this feeling. I love it. Well, I'm not going to say that. What I really think is that we really need to be equally good givers and takers. Good, not
Oh,
takers, but receivers.
givers and takers. I like
Yeah,
that. Okay.
yeah, we have to be good, equally good givers and receivers, I should say, because and I had a client that I was working on this with because she was like, no, I want to give, give, and then when it was time to give to her, she would, no, 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 I don't. And I'm like, well, how can you expect the people you're giving to receive from you if you are not a good receiver? You have to walk in that path, and you got to be a teacher of what it is that you believe in. You need to lead by the power of your example. And if you, to the degree you want to give, means that's the degree people have to receive from you. And if you want them to receive in that note of like true, open-hearted, just authentic, just receiving, you have to be able to do the same because you need to be part of that cycle. And I think that's a newer approach, but it's a very important, I think, element that we have to start saying, be an equally good giver and receiver.
A good giver and a receiver. Now I do know somebody who she loves giving, like give, 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 give. But the moment you give something to her, hey Brittany, somebody saying to somebody, I'm alive. The
Uh-huh.
morning that you give to her, it's just like, why you giving me this? And it's like, well, dang, you can accept, I can accept your gift, but you can accept mine. Like,
Yeah.
what is
Yeah.
this? It was like you make me not want to give. Like I naturally want to give. Like, so let me give to you. But somehow
Ah,
I don't know if it's a mental thing or it's a pride thing where people can't like take or accept a gift.
receive.
Like, is that
Yeah.
on this part? Like, I don't want to seem like I'm weak, or I don't want to seem like I'm needy,
Something.
or I don't know what it is mentally why people don't accept gifts from others, or
Yeah.
but they love giving it to others.
Yeah, which is so interesting to me because it's like, why would you rob yourself of the joy that you say you love to give to other people? Like, there's something else being fulfilled by the giving. Maybe it's like an owing giving, like I owe this, so I have to give this, which not a lot. I know that's probably not the case for everybody, but it does make you question, like, what's up with that? Because one of the strongest things about me, I feel like as a person, is that I really always work to practice what I preach. I always work to teach from example. So everything I've ever told anyone to do, whether it's journaling, emotional freedom tapping, mental rehearsal, the NLP, anything, I've done it myself. I've done it myself. I've done it with my children, journaling, everything. And if something works, something doesn't work, something works for a certain period of time, I can speak from experience, but I'm never going to tell someone do something that I'm like, I'm not going to do or I can't do. And I just think that's part of society. Society kind of teaches us like guilt and don't take, and like we throw this word selfish around all the time. That's why at this point we're afraid to do self-care. Half the people are afraid of self-care. Half the people are afraid to love themselves because if self-care means I'm giving too much attention to myself. Self-love means I'm conceited. So give receiving from someone means I'm greedy. Say again.
You said self love means I'm greedy. What? I've never heard of that.
Something I mean, because at this point they just self love means I'm conceited, and then
Or
taking means
selfish.
I'm greedy. Yeah, or selfish. It's just all these labels that come along with it. So I think at this point we're so afraid to even water and nurture ourselves. But let me give you this example that I feel like this is what I've used many times to help transform people's perspectives, and hopefully everyone listening, tuning in will feel the power of this if you're struggling with this. I'd say we're all seeds, right? We're like a seed. And when you look at a seed, it doesn't usually, not in all cases, it doesn't give you an indication of all the power that's inside. It's just a tiny little thing. Like, what is that? You don't know the power, you don't know the knowledge, the memory. This is going to go and to grow into something so magnificent. And it has the power to reproduce and bear seeds, right? Bear fruit. So we are like that seed. Sometimes we don't know our potential, we don't know what's locked inside. But if we water, and we nurture and we grow, not just with consumable foods by the mouth, but food and consuming knowledge and consuming spiritual and consuming things that will feed our mind, body, soul. Then we start to grow that seed into the fullest expression of what it's meant to be, our fullest expression. When we do that, it is a journey of self love, self care, self, all that. However, what happens when that seed is fully expressed? We bear fruit and we give to others. That's what happens to the fruit that
Oh
we
wow,
bear.
that is so deep. I've never thought about it like that. So you have a tiny seed and you just let it grow. You just nurture it and let it grow, and then you do start from, even if we do a garden, like I wanted to plant a garden where we go tomatoes, whatever. Oh wow, I've never thought about it like that. Just the little simple things like that are so deep to me. Like
Yeah, yeah,
never thought about it like that at all.
yeah. And I'm like, so your job then, for the degree you want to give to the world, is to feed and nurture your seed because that's your job. Because once you do that, you will feed a nation with what you will bear, whether it's just thoughts, the ideas, the contributions, the books, the hugs, the thoughtfulness, the kindness, holding a door open. All of that fruit that you will produce will serve this entire nation. But it starts with you feeding your own seed. You got to water that.
Oh wow.
So it is not a journey of selfishness. Self love, self esteem, self care. It is not a journey of selfishness. It is absolutely investing in yourself so that we can contribute to this planet and live as a whole the way we were meant to.
Oh, that's beautiful and so deep and so powerful, but simple at the same time. Like very, very simple and straight to the point. Before we log off, because we've got a few more minutes and I want to talk about a few more things. You talked about writing stuff on paper, like brain dumping and stuff like that. What if everybody's not into writing? What's another method they can do besides writing?
Absolutely. So you can obviously, if you don't want to write, you can. It depends on what you're into. Because I'm very like, let's get creative. What's your thing? So if people like to sing, I'm like, let's sing it out. Go ahead and sing in the shower, sing, but sing your affirmations. Don't necessarily sing all the songs you hear on the on the radio. Come up with your own songs and sing. you don't like to sing, then thinking to yourself can work. As a speaker, I'm constantly practicing my speeches. So I'm in the bathroom and my kids already know. Like I'm in there like, hello, everybody. It's so nice of you to be here. My kids are like, oh, she's practicing again. Because it was just me in the mirror. But for me, like to be able to emote as a teacher, I want to be able to do that. So speaking out loud, singing out loud. If you don't like to write, another thing is sometimes building it into whatever your craft is. For example, so with kids, they are playing toys. I'll go into a kid's room and pick up whatever toy I see, and then turn it into a game. Like, oh, it's a puzzle. Every time you put a piece together, say an affirmation. So it's like it's tied to these things. Athletes, so I'll be like, every time you make a basket, you need to say something empowering to yourself. And then there's a whole bunch of other tools you can use too, holistic release tools, just so many different things that we make sure that it matches your personality and what your interests are. And I do have my online academy, and the academy has to take into account that everybody is going to be learning differently. So some things are very high energy and like you can click along. Some things are just videos. Some things are journal or drawing or writing or poetry. So it really, it speaks to the fact that we're all different and there is not a one size fits all, and we can always adjust to give you something that's going to help you to do what you need to do and make the changes that you need to make, for sure.
Nice. So if anybody wanted to join what is the academy called? The self-esteem.
The Self-Esteem Doctor Academy. But I'm going to make it easy. If y'all just go to the selfesteemdoctor.com, like just all spelled out, the selfesteemdoctor.com, you have access to everything. You can get to my academy from there. You can get to resources I've got on Amazon from there. You have all access to all kinds of things that you can do to help you and to support you on this journey. And of course, we have advisors. So if you need to say, hey, what should I be doing? Give me a plan. You can just tell us what's going on with you, and then we will send you over. We recommend this class and this book and this journal, and we'll tell you what it is that we would recommend that you take. So we're here for you.
Yes. Are the advisors also courses, or they're therapists, or?
So right now it's a team. It's between me and the team. So they're usually people just are helping to guide through the process. So answering questions. We're still growing the team. So ultimately it can end up being maybe coaches and therapists, but they're not there for specific therapeutic services. They're more there because they know what's in the academy. They know the classes, the courses, and what they're for, and the age group that it fits. So when you say to me, hey, I really want a plan. I need like a step-by-step plan because I want to feel better and I want to, hit my goals. I'll say to you, okay, go ahead and take the self-esteem blueprint, and hopefully we can put some of that in the show notes. And you take the self-esteem blueprint, and that's going to take you step by step with a lot of the mental imagery stuff we talked about today. So that would be the class I'd recommend. And if you say, well, I've got a 11-year-old and they just are not showing any kind of confidence whatsoever, they're freaking out to try new things, I'm going to say go do the Easy Self-Esteem Builder, because that's a class that'll be for you instead. And these are pre-recorded. The courses I'm usually recommending are all pre-recorded, so you take them on your own time, whenever you feel like, middle of the night, early morning, on vacation. I had a mom call me the other day, tell me she was taking it in the car. She's like, the kid's doing it in the car. And I was like, go for it. So it's really just for the, today's busy person that you could still get these tools in, do the programming, and get the results.
So what are the age ranges of the people that you?
From like 6 all the way up to 60s, 70s.
What?
Executives.
So
yeah.
Okay, I guess being a teacher, you were able to teach in all these different age ranges. Because my thing is, the mindset of the different 6-year-olds to the 60-year-olds. You know what I'm saying?
It is a different mindset, but are the same set of tools. So it's a matter of teaching the same set of tools over and over and over and matching it to the person. So imagine if I was teaching, how to ride a bike, and I'm going to teach a 6-year-old how to ride a bike. It's going to be different. But I teach a 70-year-old how to ride a bike. It'll be different. It might be different types of bikes, maybe different lessons, maybe a number of times a day, maybe different, gears for protection or whatnot. But either way, it's kind of like I can teach you how to ride a bike. So this is a similar perspective I have when it comes to self-esteem building. We all have that. These are the things, like, again, when you chunk up, we're so similar. You know what I mean? Like the whole world, we're more similar than we are different. Although our difference is what makes us beautiful on the planet. Yeah, I mean,
are like than we are different.
We really are. We really are. So when it comes to teaching something, like how do we use these faculties beyond just, go to school and memorize a bunch of facts and spit it out on a test? Like, besides that, how do you use this for actual self-development and what I've heard someone call mental fitness, which I just absolutely loved. Mental fitness over mental health, because fitness is something you take charge of, right? Like when we're physically unhealthy, we take steps to go get healthy. When we're mentally unhealthy, there are steps we can take to try to be more healthy, to get that support we need. And sometimes mental health has a little more of a passive, stagnant feeling like, and this is my mental health like problem or situation. But mental fitness is like, I'm working at this. I'm going to go out there, and I know it might not be overnight, but I'm going to go out there and work at this, and I'm going to work this muscle, and I'm going to practice being positive, and I'm going to practice focusing on the positive what ifs. Like that's fitness. Like I'm in the mental gym here trying to
It's
keep
like
these
you gotta
positive
throw
thoughts.
yourself into. It's like, okay, I really gotta, like you said, go into the gym as all these different equipments. You just gotta dive in there and pick up an equipment and start working on it. Like,
Start it.
like get on that
You hit
equipment
it.
and start pushing and moving and stuff.
That's what it is. That's what it is. So I love that. And I just think we have so much potential. Human potential is just, we have not been taught anywhere close to
Yeah.
what our capability is. Like God made these, it can do stuff. It can do stuff. Trust me. Like so I'm here to help try to spread that word and make sure people know more about what it is they can do. So I am very excited that got a chance to talk to you today. Like this is amazing. And I just love your concept. I love that you followed your heart and yes, and birthed something so beautiful out of just a not beautiful time in the world. But now what you've done and brought so many beautiful people together is just amazing. So cheers to your platform and thank you for allowing me to be on it. So
No, thank
excited.
you for coming. I appreciate all the knowledge that you gave me tonight. I really do appreciate it. But before we close out, where can I heard you say you have some speaking engagements? Anything else you want to tell us about any events you have coming up and we need to know about?
Well, yes, actually. So, well, it's kind of soon. Like tomorrow night, I have a mom's social club. Yeah, I know, right? But I have a moms and teachers social club, and we have half people meet online if you're not in the state or not close by, and people who are close by will come by, in Parkland. But it's a social club where you can get together and get some tools and tips for yourself as a parent, as a mom, as a teacher, and also to help your kids. That's one thing I've got going on. The Academy is always open and ready to welcome you with open arms and make sure you have resources you need. There are free resources there for you, and there are paid resources as the courses get a little bit more detailed. And you're going to see me talking all over the place because I'm traveling around. I'm going to Virginia. I'm going to Virginia. Did I tell you I'm going to Virginia? Yes, I'm going to be on a. Okay, so I'm doing a talk at Norfolk State University.
I was
Norfolk.
just there this weekend. My friend got married. My friend got married on Sunday in Norfolk, and I was just there, and I just got back on Monday.
And I'm leaving on Friday. We're gonna road trip up, and my talk is at Norfolk and I can't. I'm trying to say it right.
Norfolk.
University. Norfolk University, and I'm gonna do my talk on Monday, and then we're gonna like vacation. I homeschool my kids, so we travel around and make everything a vacation. So that's what we're
Um,
gonna
so Norfolk, where
yeah.
in Norfolk? He's at a
So
university.
Norfolk State University. I mean, I don't think it's open to the public, but it's
Oh, okay.
yeah, I don't think it's open to the public. It's a private talk with the university students. But you're gonna see me if you follow me on my Instagram. You guys will always be able to see what I'm up to and see if things are open for you to come and join. I would love to see you guys, and I also do traveling to come out to you to do talks. If you have a company, organization, or group or event, I travel out to come and bring some of this knowledge and make it a workshop and make it fun. So y'all find me at the Self Esteem Doctor on Instagram, and of course my website, theselfesteemdoctor.com.
All right, T. Thank you so much for having for coming on tonight and talking
Of
to us.
course,
All right, I'm
I
gonna
appreciate
close
you.
out and we can keep on talking.